We often think of obstacles as things that come from the outside, bad luck, difficult people, or challenging circumstances. But sometimes the biggest roadblocks to our own happiness and success come from within us. Self-sabotage is a subtle, often unconscious pattern where we create barriers that prevent us from moving forward. It doesn't always look like destruction. It can hide in habits, excuses, fears, or even the stories we tell ourselves. The tricky part is, most of the time, we don't even realize we're doing it. If left unchecked, these behaviors can keep us stuck in a loop, repeating the same mistakes and missing out on opportunities we're more than capable of seizing. Understanding the signs of self-sabotage is the first step toward breaking free and living up to our true potential. One of the most common signs of self-sabotage is procrastination. On the surface, it might feel like harmless delay, telling yourself you'll start the project tomorrow or waiting for the perfect moment. But underneath, procrastination is often a fear of failure, or even a fear of success. By putting things off, you give yourself an excuse if things don't turn out well. This way you can say, "I didn't do my best because I didn't have enough time," instead of confronting the possibility that your best effort might still face criticism. The problem is, constant procrastination robs you of the momentum you need to achieve anything meaningful. Another subtle form of self-sabotage is perfectionism. At first glance, aiming for perfection sounds like a good thing. It means you care about doing well. But in reality, perfectionism sets an impossible standard that keeps you from ever feeling satisfied. You might delay finishing a task because it's not quite good enough. Or you might avoid starting something at all because you know you can't do it flawlessly. Perfectionism can paralyze progress, leaving you in a constant state of preparation without ever making real moves forward. Negative self-talk is another deeply damaging habit. When your inner voice constantly tells you that you're not capable, not smart enough, or not deserving of success, it shapes your actions accordingly. You start to believe these thoughts and then you act in ways that confirm them, turning down opportunities, avoiding challenges, or settling for less than you want. Over time, these internal messages become self-fulfilling prophecies. Instead of being your own supporter, you become your harshest critic, and that criticism keeps you small. A fourth sign is overcommitting yourself. It might seem like being busy means you're being productive, but sometimes, overloading your schedule is a way to avoid facing the real work you need to do. When you're stretched too thin, you can tell yourself you just don't have time to focus on your goals. But in reality, you're creating that chaos to avoid the discomfort of deep, focused effort. Constant busyness can also lead to burnout, which keeps you from functioning at your best. Some people sabotage themselves by avoiding discomfort altogether. Growth requires stepping into situations that challenge you. But if you always choose the safe, familiar path, you prevent yourself from expanding your skills, experiences, and confidence. This avoidance can come in many forms: turning down a promotion because it requires public speaking, not applying for a dream job because you're afraid of rejection, or staying in a relationship that feels safe but unfulfilling. By avoiding short-term discomfort, you create long-term dissatisfaction. Self-sabotage can also show up as comparing yourself to others. Constantly measuring your progress against someone else's achievements can make you feel like you're always behind, no matter what you accomplish. This comparison can be paralyzing, leading you to quit before you even start because you think you'll never measure up. What's worse, it shifts your focus away from your own growth and onto a never-ending race you can't win, because someone will always be ahead in some area. A seventh sign is holding on to toxic relationships. Sometimes we keep people in our lives who don't support our growth because they're familiar, or because we're afraid of being alone. These relationships drain our energy, undermine our confidence, and reinforce negative patterns. The longer we hold on to them, the harder it becomes to see our own worth clearly. Letting go can be painful, but staying stuck in unhealthy connections is a sure way to sabotage your own happiness. Fear of success might sound strange, but it's very real. Success often brings change, new responsibilities, higher expectations, and more visibility. For some, that's intimidating enough to make them hold themselves back, even when they're capable of achieving more. You might avoid putting yourself forward for promotions, downplay your achievements, or even quit something just as it's starting to go well. This fear often hides behind practical-sounding excuses, but deep down, it's about being afraid of what comes after you win. Another way people undermine themselves is by constantly seeking approval from others. When your decisions are based on what will please people rather than what will move you toward your own goals, you give away your power. This habit can cause you to say yes to things you don't want, avoid risks that might upset someone, or change your path entirely to fit someone else's expectations. Over time, you lose touch with your own desires. and your life becomes a reflection of what others want rather than what you truly need. An especially sneaky form of self-sabotage is ignoring your physical and mental health. Skipping meals, sacrificing sleep, neglecting exercise, or avoiding emotional self-care can all seem like small things, but they chip away at your resilience and focus. When you're running on empty, you can't make clear decisions or give your best effort. Sometimes people even do this on purpose, unconsciously setting themselves up to fail so they have a ready-made excuse. Self-sabotage can also take the form of constantly changing your goals. You start one thing with excitement, but as soon as it becomes challenging, you jump to something else. This constant shifting means you never give yourself enough time to see real progress, and you train yourself to expect the thrill of starting without the discipline of finishing. It can make you feel busy and productive while keeping you stuck in the same place for years. Finally, not asking for help when you need it is a major sign of self-sabotage. Whether it's pride, fear of judgment, or a belief that you have to handle everything alone, refusing support keeps you struggling unnecessarily. Help from others can give you new perspectives, encouragement, and resources you can't access on your own. By denying yourself that help, you make your journey harder and longer than it needs to be. Self-sabotage isn't always dramatic. It's often quiet, habitual, and deeply rooted in fear or self-doubt. But the good news is that once you recognize these patterns, you can start to challenge them. Every time you choose to act in alignment with your goals instead of your fears, you weaken the hold of self-sabotage. It's not about being perfect. It's about becoming aware and making small, consistent changes. With awareness and commitment, you can stop standing in your own way and start building the life you truly want.